Yo, welcome to Hard Pass. I am your host, Jacques Slade. It's the show that is still riding the vibes of that amazing verses between the Locks and Dipset. To narrate how awesome it was, here's Fat Joe.
Then, welcome to New York City. Welcome to New York City. I almost pulled the little mama and ran up on the ring.
Yo, is Ciroc that good? Let's start with some hot takes. So Yeezy Day happened and all I got was a big ol' L. Not to say that I tried to buy everything that was offered, but I was hoping to grab the Wave Runners at least. Yes, I don't have a pair of the Wave Runners. I was super late to the party. Sue me. Sadly, Wave Runners, for as popular as they are, have not hit 350 Zebra status yet. Hey, remember when Zebras were the wave and everybody wanted them and were paying stupid amounts of money at resale, not knowing that they would become Yeezy's version of the all-white Nike Air Force One Low with how often they've been reissued? Yeah. Well, I know one guy who remembers. Actually, we all know about this guy because a video clip of him resurfaced trading stacks of valuable sneakers to consignment shop round 2 for a pair of Zebras.
Trying to get these Zebras, man. Brought a few things and bite the bullet.
They are. It's like the best Y3 low-key.
It might be the wraps. I don't know.
So, for this stuff, my man, I'd be at $13.50 store credit. So we're pretty close. You know what I mean? We do have still a little bit left to go.
Let me take it. Can I take a look at him? He said he put it in.
One of the two pairs we had.
Text me never, right? Word.
Ouch. If there was ever an example of sneaker schadenfreude, that was it. Hopefully karma has caught up to that dude and he's rebounded with a lopsided trade in his favor, but damn, that's like giving up the Travis Fragment ones for Air Force Ones with that teeny tiny Supreme logo. We also got a closer look at Drake's Knock the Sneaker collab with Nike called the Hot Step Air Terra, and I have to say, I'm now more confident than ever that it won't be a huge hit for Nike. Like, they can drop multiple colorways of it, change up the materials, or get Undercover or Para to do work on it, and it might not matter. It'll sell out, but it might not move the needle. You know why? Because people on sneaker Twitter are apparently hating on these and claiming they look like K-Swiss sneakers, but actually they are Nike-ass Nikes, kids. They look like an obscure Nike Air Max from the 90s that only the most diehard of sneakerheads know about, and then when it comes back as a retro, everybody pretends to really love them, but nobody buys them and they end up at an outlet store. I call it the Talaria theory. Sorry if you actually like those. My apologies. An unbelievably rare Air Jordan 3 has been found at a discount store, so you can probably expect it to sell in the 6 figures when Sotheby gets their grubby white gloves on them. Wait. Those aren't actually rare collabs, but rather bootleg 3s made by Fat Farm. But man, couldn't you imagine Fat Farm and Jordan Brand collaborating if that kind of team up was as common as it is today? Personally, I'm hoping for a Sean John comeback so that Diddy can make an all velour dunk to match my baby blue tracksuit that I still wear, and it fits me like 20 years later. Congratulations to this hype beast who kept his Travis Scott McDonald's meal in case for some ungodly reason. Look, we're all integrating sealed video games from the 80s. We might as well do it for the modern food collabs. Like, can you imagine the process? Let's see, the French fries are a year old, but they appear to still be crispy, a sign of a very good fryer and excellent craftsmanship from the server who cooked it. The burger looks like it might still be edible, so I will consider giving it a 10, but I have to dock a few points for the grease marks on the bag, so maybe a 9.6. Looks like Travis Scott's DJ Chase B got a pair of Travis's Nike Dunk collab with PlayStation. That's not really news because of course you would give your trusted friend and DJ all of the good things, but what really is news is Chase B's appraisal of the dunks.
Now, of course, I understand this could be several down payments on several houses, and we got the super crazy box to go with that. Know that.
Yeah, either he hasn't checked Zillow lately or I am vastly underestimating how much these would sell. Like, I don't live in a super fancy house, but I know what it's worth right now. And if Chase B came by with these as a down payment for this one house, I tell him to get the out of here. At least throw in a PS5 so I know it's real. Okay. As some of you know, the real co-writer finds the trend of wearing authentic tags on their sneakers so everybody knows you paid resale for them kind of sad and pathetic. Personally, I don't really care, but hey, do you? But this guy? Nah, we're not gonna shame him. Actually, let's applaud him for a second for being ingenious because you never know when you need a lace swap in a pinch. Not sure when that would ever come up, so if anybody can leave a comment as to what would make sense, let me know down below. It's still better than those tags though. A sneaker consignment shop was trying to get that good old internet clout this week for giving away Yeezys to everybody from customers to graduates to the police. Man, I remember when the movies taught me you could pay off cops with enough cash or favors. Anyways, in return for those Yeezys, all they had to do was jump up and crush the boxes like they were Goombas in Mario 64. I don't mind it as much because the sneakers are actually being given away for free, but I'm just counting the days when someone takes this too far and someone is headed to the hospital for a sneaker box crushing related injury. Not gonna be me though. You know, you've seen my storage unit. Now, before we move on, I want to give some special props to Yankee Cat, the next great superstar in baseball.
No chance.
MVP. MVP. Cat should play in the NFL and give Lamar Jackson a run for his money. I bet you Stephen A. Smith already likes that cat more than Shohei Ohtani because it meows in English. All right, the sky seems to be falling on sneaker customizers. Or could this be a blessing in disguise for the long run? For the past few months, Nike has filed lawsuits against a handful of artists and sneaker customizers who they claim have infringed on their trademarks and profited off of said infringement. The most visible one of these lawsuits was obviously the Warren Lotus situation several months ago when the artist tried to release a collection of sneakers that copied the look and feel of Nike SB Dunks. The most recent ones are a little more direct because they are customizers that use actual Nike products and then they add their own touch to it. Whether it's combining the Air Jordan 1 Mid or Nike Air Force 1 with another popular intellectual property like Amazon or slapping on some Burberry print on them. Really? Amazon? That sounds like the darkest timeline since Jeff Bezos and Phil Knight have enough money to fund a real trip to Mars. Anyways, the lawsuits have divided the sneaker world with fans obviously rallying for the customizers who they feel are filling a need that Nike is either unable to or uninterested in. Again, that need is apparently combining Nike and Amazon, but whatever. On the other hand, you've got maybe the biggest name in the customizing game, Mosh, saying that it's not a big deal, dude.
Around the custom world. I mean, the thing is, Nike's, big brother and, they're the big name, but like I work with tons of brands and I focus on my own. It's kind of goes back to like, I don't want to have these other brands dictate my business. So it's taking my own hands. What I saw was, I think it's going to force customers to be more creative.
Huh. It's not the response that I would have expected, to be quite honest, but it's also a little enlightening. If you listen to the whole interview Mosh does with the Complex crew, he says that a lot of his enjoyment in work nowadays is dedicated to his own sneakers. Not that he doesn't still dip his toes in the custom world that may or may not catch the ire of Nike, but he says he has good relationships with the swoosh and other brands, so chances are he's not going to catch the same heat as someone else lower on the customization ladder. But he also says that this is going to force these artists to up their game and be more creative, to which I would say, great. That sounds like a fantastic outcome if that is what the results from these lawsuits. I'd rather nobody lose their livelihood from these lawsuits, but hopefully they can come to an understanding with Nike and just up their game. If it means that customizers cannot just do the simplest of jobs and bites off the culture and instead add something cool and significant to it, then that's actually a good thing. Like when you see what Mosh does for football players like Stephon Diggs and brands like Under Armour, or what Sue Surgeon does with their high quality customs, it's a little more than just changing the color of the swoosh. Obviously, this could all change and Nike could just go the scorched earth method and sue everybody, but I think there's going to be a class of customizers that is going to look at this situation and freak out. And then there's going to be another class that's going to be unbothered. What do you guys think? Let me know what you think about Nike going after customizers down in the comments below. It's the Heat Check, where we bring you everything that's dropping this week. We're starting off with the Disney, Marvel, Adidas It's Not Easy Being Green. Those are on the 9th for $100 each. Adidas has steadily dropped Disney Stan Smiths for the past several months, and this latest iteration features memorable duos and rivals that span their many properties. We've got Wally and Eva, Thor and Hulk, Baby Groot and Gamora, Mike and Sully, and a few more. We'll definitely see these at Disneyland and Disney World for sure. We have the Nike Dunk High first use on August 10th for $120. A nod to the time when Nike was able to trademark the swoosh. It's a pretty cool pair of dunks, but it also just makes me think about the person who designed the iconic logo, Carolyn Davidson. Fun fact, although she was paid a mere $75 for the swoosh at the time, Phil Knight did gift her a ring and a plethora of shares a few years later. Maybe not Travis Scott and PlayStation Dunk money because, several down payments on several houses and whatnot. We have the Sacai Nike Blazer Low British Tan on the 10th for $120. Not gonna lie, I'm just wondering if these damn things will fit my feet. I like Blazers, I respect Blazers, but they hate my feet. Why don't Blazers love me back, man? Now I know how Will felt when his dad left him again. The Nike Dunk Low sale multi-camo on August 11th for $110. Clashing camo sounds like a bad idea, whether you're actually in active duty or you're playing Call of Duty. But I guess it's gonna work for dunks because I'm sure we're gonna see this with clashing camo pants in the fall season. We have the women's Air Jordan 1 Seafoam on August 12th for $170. I'm not against the idea of contrasting laces, but they don't work for me in this example, I think. If it comes with a solid Seafoam green alternate laces, I would definitely approve. But as I like to reiterate from time to time, please don't be a grown-ass man trying to buy up the larger sizes. Unless they are GRs and they're easy to get, then by all means, do you. The Todd Snyder New Balance 327 Farmers Market on the 12th for $150. These are actually available now on Snyder's own site, but they're getting a larger release on NewBalance.com this week. I'm not a super fan of the 327 silhouette, but I do love the color combinations on this collab. But also, now I want some kettle corn. Who doesn't love kettle corn? They're both underrated and overexposed at the same time. We have the Bad Bunny and Adidas Forum Low Buckle Core Black on August 14th for $160. The next colorway from the music superstar and former WWE 24/7 champion is a solid black that kind of loses a lot of the energy of the previous release, but don't let the blandness fool you because these are going to be super hard to get. We have the Air Jordan 1 Pollen on the 14th for $170, aka your next chance at buying Wu-Tang adjacent sneakers. It's not the same shade of yellow as the Dunks, but it's close enough in my opinion, and really, I've been waiting a long time for this particular color blocking to hit the ones. And then the pick of the week is obviously Travis Scott Fragment Design Air Jordan 1 Low on August 13th. And the price is, why even bother? I'm not getting them. You're not getting them. Bots don't care about price. They care about mommy's credit card info. We already dedicated an entire segment to this previously, but we'll just say this again. These are better than the highs. Let's normalize lows being better than highs. Sometimes even the mids. I don't know, maybe. All right. And now for a heat check on my 17-time Los Angeles Lakers, baby. Look, you might want to mute at least the next few minutes if you're not a Laker fan, because I'm just going to say it right now. We got this. Of course, that's assuming we can stay healthy in the playoffs, but if LeBron, AD, and my new favorite player, Russell Westbrook, can hang on and play every game in April, May, and June of next year, we will be celebrating number 18 and surpassing those dastardly Boston Celtics for the most championships. Yes, the Minneapolis championships count, and no, I'm not going to debate anybody on it. If the franchise counts it, I count it. Anyway, so we traded Kyle Kuzma, KCP, Trez, and a draft pick for the Fashion King, and people hated it. And when I say people, I mean NBA Twitter with their fancy analytics and statistics. So normally, I would side with the number people, especially when it comes to things I'm not an expert on. But when you get a chance to trade a player who the fan base turned on years ago, a role player who had moments of brilliance and moments of what the hell, and another who never really fit in and turned it into a former MVP, Olympic gold medalist, and a triple-double king, you just do it and worry about the rest later. And my man Rob Pelinka, who I've never criticized in the past, handled the rest as the best he can, bringing in a Carmelo Anthony whose sole existence now is doing everything it takes to win a championship, resigning a promising young player like Taylor Horton-Tucker, who I may or may not have a few PSA 10s of, and bringing in old favorites like Trevor Ariza and somebody who I'm sure will either really love or really frustrated in Malik Monk. We had to say goodbye to the GOAT Alex Caruso, but when the bag shows up elsewhere, you go get it, man. Hope Chicago appreciates you just like we did. I doubt Caruso will get a statue outside of Staples Center someday, but he will always have a special place in the Laker lore alongside guys like Rambis, Vlade, Mark, Sasha, and other dudes that were uncommonly popular because, you know. Anyways, another reason why people want to jump on this team with their jokes is because they remember the last few times we put together a super team with older veterans. In 2003, we brought in an aging Gary Payton and a geriatric and highly problematic Karl Malone. But what people like to conveniently forget is that team of geezers did make the NBA Finals before getting the brakes beat out of them by the Detroit Pistons. And then nearly a decade later, we got Dwight Howard and Steve Nash to try and complement Powell and Mamba. Now, that didn't work out because Nash got hurt right away, and as it turns out, Dwight was also hurt and shouldn't have been playing. So we either make the finals, and from there, anything is possible, or we crash and burn during the regular season and barely make the playoffs. Yeah. That sounds like a plan to me. I don't really see the problem with this strategy because rebuilding like other teams do is just not part of the Laker way. First of all, it seems like we're not that great at it, considering we just draft players who are not good enough to keep but show enough promise to be a part of the trade to bring in guys like AD and Russ. And second of all, It's a win now mentality here in Los Angeles because we're accustomed to celebrating championships and raising banners. The teams know they not only have to win, but they have to be stylish as hell doing it. And what better way to prove that point than by trading for Russ, who will more than likely be the League Fit's MVP, and signing Melo, another dude who is known for making the walkways interesting. And then there's the narrative. If the Lakers had just traded for NBA Twitter darlings like Buddy Hield and won a championship, that would have been fun, but it wouldn't move the needle. But if the Lakers win number 18 next year and in the process help Russell and Carmelo win their first championships, despite being as accomplished as his former Thunder teammates, Russ is clearly the Dean Ambrose, James Harden is the Seth Rollins, and Kevin Durant is the Roman Reigns. And that's a wrestling analogy. If you know, you know. If you don't, it's fine. Anyways, Russ winning a championship would be a heartwarming moment, especially as he would do it in his hometown. Meanwhile, Carmelo Anthony is maybe even more of a sympathetic figure than Chris Paul was when he made it to the finals a few weeks ago. Even though he's way past his prime, he is still one of the most popular players in the league, and he's going to have the whole world rooting for him if they get close. And then there's the whole LeBron winning another ring thing that gets him to number 5. It will be all ESPN talks about for years to come, and I'm not mad at that. Lakers exceptionalism, the assumption many fans have that everything just bends in our direction, is part of the narrative, and it will be at an all-time high if we're able to pull it off. And you know what? I love it. And really, that's what matters. Besides, what are people in LA gonna watch? Kawhi Leonard is probably gonna be hurt for a whole season, and the most attention they're going to pay to that other team is when we wonder why Nike even bothered making another PG shoe. Not a whole lot going on there on the other side, honestly, so this is our last call to jump on the bandwagon. Oh, what am I saying? The bandwagon is gonna be open for the whole year because you know your cousin, twice removed, who thinks Marc Gasol and Pau Gasol are the same person, is suddenly gonna be a Laker fan again, and when they get to the Western Conference Finals and claim that they were there from day one. And you know what? Come on in, everybody. We got room. Just so you know, get your vaccine and wear a mask once you actually board, though. I give the Lakers offseason moves a perfect 10 Russell Westbrook's pregame outfits out of 10 Carmelo Anthony wide podcast live streams. I'm so ready for this. Let's go, baby. It's time for this week's Hard Pass, where we take a look at something in the culture that just needs to go. Like Nike forcing us to stay watching crap on sneakers just so we can get exclusive access. Look, exclusive access at face value is not a bad idea. Yes, Nike should be rewarding their most loyal customers with occasional perks. It doesn't have to be all the time, but you know, when you have everybody's purchase history or the analytics of how long they stare at pictures of the Air Jordan 11 Concord listing, maybe sending a link over to that person with a chance to buy it early is a good thing. But making your whole strategy revolve around, hey, watch these mini docs and live streams and maybe you might get lucky, sounds a little scummy. People have other to do with their time in their lives, and forcing them to watch content that they otherwise would not be interested in is like when an achievement for an Xbox game make you do some crazy stunt that you otherwise would never attempt. The difference is that when you do that stunt in the game, you get that achievement chime and a few points for your efforts. If I watch an entire video about why these off-whites have different color laces and I don't get exclusive access, that's a bummer. Anyways, this week's other hard pass goes to getting way too hyped about Yeezy Day or Jordan Reserves or any other restock event like it's the second coming. So Yeezy Day happened this week and it got a lot of people excited because theoretically, this is supposed to be everybody's second chance to score a pair of 750s or 700s or foam runners that they missed out on the first time around. The hype was massive, like it was a new Kanye album release. By the way, I've noticed that people online are now calling foam runners foams as if there wasn't already a massively popular sneaker that earned that shorthand years ago. I don't know, go call whatever shoe or sandal or clog you want foams. I guess it's not that serious, but at the same time, wow, no regard for history. Anyway, the Yeezy Day lineup was fairly impressive despite the power phases, which, you know, whatever. And like I said, it was treated like a new Kanye album released by some. It even had a new colorway of the Yeezy 700 V3 as the highlight. But as is the case with every new Kanye album, it kind of felt incomplete and left people wondering why they bothered to get hyped in the first place. No, I haven't heard Donna yet as of this recording, if it even dropped yet. Like, Adidas tried to stagger the releases at different times of the day, but there were still plenty of L's being handed out. And then there was the Jordan Reserves, which according to SNKRS was going to be your exclusive chance to grab a pair of hype J's. But those hype J's were far from hyped. They were mostly GRs that you could easily find at a Foot Locker or JD Sports or at the Nike outlet. Let's see, Jordan 5 Wings, Jordan 7 Flint, Jordan 3 Georgetown, Jordan 1 KOs. Not the worst list, but also not what people were expecting. But then again, some people thought this might have been their chance to grab a pair of Travis Fragment 1s, to which I would say, yeah, good luck with that one. So to borrow a point from Soul Savvy CEO Dejan Pralica, both Yeezy Day and the Jordan Reserves were basically the same thing, a chance to make something out of a whole lot of nothing. The sneakers that were sold on both events were canceled orders and those that languished in stores. The main difference was the marketing with Adidas and Yeezy making it a big deal while Jordan Brand just quietly left a notification on your phone just telling you to keep an eye out. Do I prefer one over the other? No, but I think there needs to be a better education about these events so people are not super disappointed when things do not go their way. Yeezy Days and Jordan Reserves are just fancy ways of saying that they have these overstocks and they are just getting rid of them to make way for the new stuff that these same people want to buy. This is not Amazon Prime Day. Okay, it kinda is, but supply there doesn't dry up as fast as Yeezys. This is not like a Christmas in July sale. It's just a regular old clearance sale. No different than when you walk into a store and there are shoe boxes just stacked up on a table and priced to go. It's a little more fancy and you might lug into a gym or a new release like the Blue Go 700 V3s, but lower your expectations and don't expect Turtle Doves or Travis Fragments. It's really not that serious. All right. That's going to do it for the show. Thank you guys for watching Hard Pass. I'm Jacques Slade. I'll see you next week, but not before we listen to more of Fat Joe talking about that versus.
Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. The place erupts. I lose my mind. I can't control the passion. Crack, what's good? What you gonna do?
All right, that's it. Ordering Ciroc right now and probably not drinking it. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.